Hey, what's going on, guys? As of right now, I'm about 10 days in to my project, which is basically my quest for 225, standing right now at 213 pounds. Um, so, I'm going to be trying to do the anti-weight loss videos here. Okay. For a lot of guys my age, I'm 46 years old. And for a lot of guys my age, guess what they're trying to do? They're always trying to lose weight. I was in that camp. I was in that camp for really a long time, ridiculously long time of just focusing on cutting calories, excessive cardio, cutting calories, excessive cardio, and then I'm assuming like there were times I had like really really amazing results. Okay, like super crazy results where I was completely ripped and I got my body. I was down to about 175 pounds, and I did feel really good. Okay, let me put that out there because I'm not like 100% like a crazy person about anti weight loss, but when that's your focus all the time, it's crazy. So again, I was doing to achieve that. I do basically 90 minutes to 2 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week of um, high intensity cardio. Okay, so we're talking like remember like the Insanity series of DVDs. I bought that and I got to a point where I was doing that 2 times a day, the long form ones, and I was watching every little thing, not just watching what you eat. I think is very important regardless of what you're doing, whether you're trying to put on muscle or you're trying to lose weight. Watching what you eat is important. You're going to stuff yourself full of chips. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Um, but I wasn't watching what I was eating. I was literally into a high level of disordered eating where I was worried about every little thing, no snacks at night, nothing after 7 p.m. All the things I had ever heard. This was before like intermittent fasting. And God knows I would have definitely tried to tackle that without a doubt. But it was just non-stop cardio, and then from there I got into running, doing marathons, doing ultra marathons, or at least attempting one. I kind of bonked out because again at the time I probably didn't fuel myself enough. I didn't give myself enough to eat. I worried when I ran. I was more worried about how my midsection felt when I ran. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had that where I mean, it sounds insane, but if you're running and if you have even just a little bit of belly fat and your shirt starts to stick to your stomach, that's all my brain could think about. So I really tried to limit my calories while running because also too you want to be lean. You think leaner, faster, smaller, faster. I can get faster times, and I was probably just absolutely killing myself in some way. So there's no doubt about that. So for 2025, actually I should back up. In 2023, June of 2023, I really had to put the kibosh on all of that, and I said, listen, I didn't even feel, this is gonna sound really bizarre, but I didn't even feel like a man anymore. Um, just for the simple fact that I had worn myself down. I was so thin. I felt old. You know, it's like 46 is not old, but depending on how you treat your body, you can feel old. You can present yourself as old, and it's not really that surprising. You know, I see some guys my age, and it's like, holy shit, you look like you're 60. And I see some guys my age, and they got me beat by a country mile. There's no doubt about that. Um, but I just needed to do something different. I wanted to get back to lifting. I wanted to get back to and see what would happen if I really committed the time because I wasn't even lifting during all those years of running because it's like, well, I don't want to try to put on muscle because that'll slow me down. I'm not going to work my legs because that's going to slow me down. Um, and then and then from there, it's, well, I've got to run. How much time? I only have so much time, as a dad and husband. You guys probably go through this where it's like, I only have so much time in a day, and now I've got to get what, an 8 mile run in, and an hour and a half at the gym, and it's probably possible. Your family might support it, but it's hit or miss. It's hard. It's hard to make that kind of commitment. I look at some of these guys that are hybrid athletes, like Nick Barr. I think it's Barr, could be Bear. I'm sorry, man. But he's up early. He's off doing 8 miles, and then he's in the gym. But he runs a big company, and he has that opportunity. And I run a company, so I can afford some opportunities, but I still have to be there. And maybe, hey, listen, at the end of the day, maybe I'm a quitter. You know what I mean? Maybe I just suck, that I don't, even though I might have the time, that I'm not dedicating my life to running 8 hours or 8 miles a day, and then also doing the kind of lifting that I'm doing, and plus the eating and prepping and cook. It's like that would, at that point, being healthy and getting into good shape and building a good body, then it becomes your entire life, and then it's kind of, well, what are you going to do with it? At that point, you're so consumed by that it's tricky. So I had to give up one. I really had to give up running. I'm still doing some cardio. We're talking like walking on the treadmill, and that's really just to try to keep up. And even that, while I'm bulking, I'm trying to keep that to a bare bones minimum. So, like I said, as of right now, this is January 10th that I'm recording this. I don't know, I'll put it out. I'm 213 pounds. That is kind of been my baseline for a little while, and I'm packing in calories that I am not used to packing in right now consistently. I bought myself a food scale. If you have any interest in bulking up, in like clean bulk, I mean, listen, you want a dirty bulk? Listen, hit McDonald's, hit Pizza Hut. There's ways you can dirty bulk easily. You probably don't have to even really be counting. You're just gonna eat, and you're gonna watch that scale. Eat, watch the scale. Eat, watch the scale. And I can tell you from experience, because I kind of did that before. Again, back in 2023 when I started, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start eating. I got to get food into my body. And over a few months, you start to realize, like, the scale kind of tipped. No pun intended. But you suddenly realize, like, oh shit! I went from like, oh, I was really thin. Now I've got all this muscle, but now it's kind of buried under some layers of fat. So I have had to go through a cut, but it was healthy. It wasn't like before where it was constantly stressing me out. So as far as information that I would want to look back on and share with you guys, is definitely weigh your food. That alone, pasta, 2 ounces of pasta cooked, I would have thought, hey, listen, a couple spoonfuls of pasta in a bowl, big spoon, here we go, and put, sauce and everything. I wouldn't have realized that I was eating, 6 or 8 ounces of pasta at a time, and then wondering, like, oh my God, why is my body so out of whack here? Cashews, love cashews, and I used to get a big bin of them, and I eat like 2-3 handfuls in a day, and I'd say, well, I mean, they're cashews. It's not too bad. I see the serving size. I don't know, 200 calories, 16 calories. Yeah, sure. Maybe I had 16, 20. And then when I weighed out what the actual serving size was in a little bowl, I was just, holy shit. I mean, there's literally like actually 16 cashews in there. So I was probably consuming 500, 600 calories at a time during my initial time of trying to bulk up. So this time, my goal, maybe you care, maybe you don't, but my goal overall is to track my calories as accurately as humanly possible. Bulk, 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 keep track, try to add some muscle, very consistent in training right now. I'll get to that in a second. And, then at that point, once I've reached whatever, again, hopefully this 225 But, I'm going to reach a point where I feel comfortable and say, okay, like something's out of whack here. Maybe I'm carrying a little too much belly fat. Things aren't showing like they should. If I do a cut, I know exactly what I got to do. I've got to be able to cut back, you know, 500 calories, 250 to 500 calories a day out of what I've been doing, and I'll know exactly what to do. Okay, no more of this, no more of this. Done. I know what I've been eating, um, and then over time, and keep working out the same way, those numbers will start to come back down, and I can kind of cut it down a little bit. But right now, I am lifting. I think it's pretty heavy. It's tough, I mean, at 46, I do have some aches and pains. Like the shoulder right now is a little jacked up. My elbow's a little jacked up. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You kind of almost have to work through the pain because I'm not injured. It's probably just inflamed from use, and that's what I kind of tell myself. And I've had times, listen, I've had this like tendonitis in my elbow, and if you've ever dealt with it, it can make you literally stop working out immediately. And I've had that happen. I stopped, like, oh my God, I got to stop. And then this time around, I just said, you know what, F it. I just kind of kept lifting through it. And I'm not going to lie, 99% of that pain has gone away, all on its own. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying that's going to work for you. I'm not saying I don't want anybody to injure themselves or hurt themselves by doing anything. I'm just telling you that what had been a debilitating, progress stopping kind of pain, I was able to eliminate. I was able to get rid of just by working through it. So that's just something to think about if you've got a really sore elbow and suddenly you're doing bicep curls and you can just feel that pain. One, you could obviously lighten it up a little bit, try to do more reps on a little lighter weight, and that'll at least take some of that tension off of there. If you're trying to Tommy torque arm some crazy weights all the time, I don't know if working through it is gonna work for you, but it did help. And again, I didn't stop. I would ease up on the weights, some higher reps, just so I could reach failure at a certain point. And that's the other thing too. I've done another video, quick little short, but for me, and this is advice for you guys out there, for the older guys, there's been 3 C's that have helped me to make the progress that I've made so far. One, it's the 3 C's. You got calories, right? That's number one. I'm eating enough, trying to eat enough. Sometimes if you want to get big, you have to kind of eat big. And I know you can find videos, Dr. Mike Israetel, he sits down with a guy and they debunk the science of, eating big to get big. It's tough. It's tough for some of these videos, right? Because if you're watching any of these for advice, the first thing that's in your head is, well, a lot of these guys admittedly do steroids. I'm glad they admit it. That's nice. So it's really tough for me to take some of the advice because, well, the steroids generally did it. They're working hard, they're eating, they're doing all the things that they're supposed to do. I'm not saying the steroids do it alone, but if I had a buddy who was trying to give me advice on how many calories I should be eating and how I should be lifting, and he's sticking himself in the ass with the roids or tren or whatever somebody's into, I don't know. I don't know how to take that advice at that point. It's like that's great, but I think what you want to start with is I do steroids, but I also do X, Y, and Z. But I do believe you have to kind of eat big to get big, because if you're just eating some chicken breast and rice through the day and you're lifting, yeah, the protein I think will help, but I think you need calories. I don't think you can eat what other people would deem a diet. Like if you're a larger person, if you're carrying a lot of weight and you're unhealthy, your diet might consist of some chicken breast and rice, and you're gonna watch your body change the other way. You're gonna shrink right down. If somebody who's overweight just ate chicken and rice, within reason, 3-4 meals of it in a day, let's say, I think their caloric needs wouldn't be met, and they would kind of just start to shrink down. So I have trouble. I'll take any comments. Absolutely. I'm no genius, that's for sure. Um, but I can't believe that one person's diet plan is another person's bulk plan, especially if you're a hard gainer or something like that. So I do think you need to get the calories in. They should be quality calories, but you gotta eat, and some of it, doesn't all have to be chicken and rice. You can throw in, some cereals and rice cakes and things like that. You got to get carbs. Protein is super important for building muscle, but I do believe in the power of carbs. And that was something, when you're cutting carbs out of your diet because you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to get lean, um, you're just getting rid of a lot of what holds on to water in your muscles and helps your muscles recover and grow. So yeah, you're slimming down, but that's why you're also going to start losing some quote unquote muscle mass, and you're going to shrink. So don't cut carbs. Carbs are actually your friend when you start lifting, and I think and then consistency and creatine were the other two C's. I got a little distracted there. Creatine's a big help. I've done a few other supplement things that you can get at GNC. There's really this is one I've been doing. I'll probably do a video on it at another point. It's been pretty good. Some pre-workout stuff that could be helpful. I did that for a long time and then got off of it, and then just started back because the effects kind of stopped being actually effective. So yeah, so calories, creatine, and consistency. You got to work out. You've got to lift. Right now, I'm lifting right around 6 days a week. I do my arms one day, bis and tris, chest one day, back and shoulders, and then that I do like on a 3-day cycle. So, and then one day a week I do legs. I already have kind of big legs, and having bigger and bigger legs, I'm kind of like a little freaked out by that. That sounds really stupid because I am trying to build as much muscle, but my legs have always been big, and finding pants that fit have already been a struggle. So really going hard on legs is going to be really interesting this year. That's kind of like my New Year's resolution. Besides trying to pack this in, um, got to build those legs. So that's really where I'm at. Again, I don't know who's going to see this. I don't know who's going to care at all. This is for me to look back and say, what did I do? What was I doing? What are the things that I was up to? Because if this works and I can get myself into like really, really exceptional shape, and I really can put on that extra mass that I want to put on. I mean, I've already put on quite a bit, but I'm still feeling relatively average right now. Um, I I know I'm going to want that information going forward. So